What's up, everybody? I went live a little early because Cackling Kamala is live right now, giving her first major speech since she got absolutely destroyed by President Trump. And the chat is roasting her right now. All right, she's getting crushed by the chat. I have to listen to this word salad. We have to listen to what word salad is going on. We've got a Trump town hall. So we have a lot going on, and let's just go ahead and jump right into this and listen to what this idiot's having to say, because she's apparently going to call Trump out.
So I'll end with this. I am not here tonight to offer all the answers, but I am here to say this. You are not alone, and we are all in this together. And straight talk, things are probably going to get worse before they get better. But we are ready for it. We are not going to scatter. We are going to stand together, everyone a leader, and emerge. You have a special role to play. Organizing is as important as ever. Mobilizing is as important as ever. Running for office is as important as ever. So please, everyone here, please keep doing what you are doing. And to everyone,
She's saying nothing.
Let's lock it in.
She's saying nothing.
Lock it in. Gear up for the hard work ahead. And please, always remember, this country is ours. It doesn't belong to whoever is in the White House. It belongs to you. It belongs to us. It belongs to we, the people.
Sounds like a lot of coke to me.
Thank you. God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you all.
Let's look at the live chat. What's the live chat saying? Look at the live chat. That's it? What a loser, L. What a joke. We the people elected Donald Trump. Very embarrassing. Go back to crying. Yeah, that was that's it. That was her big speech. That was her big hyped up speech. What a disaster.
Country. Power ultimately lies not with the wealthy or well-connected, but with all of us.
You had more. Somebody in the chat can tell me how many billionaires supported her versus how many billionaires supported Trump. I can't remember, but she had a significantly more billionaires supported her than supported Trump.
With we the people. Now, of course, I recognize that America has never fully lived up to these ideals, that for all the gains we've made, the American dream has for decades been slipping further out of reach for so many.
Yeah, so go ahead and tell us how bad America is. Go ahead. You think that's going to help? You're going to be looking at a full court press from the Democrats right now, and I just want you to understand who they have representing their party. Kamala Harris, AOC, Jasmine Crockett, Crazy Bernie Sanders, Gavin Newsom, and Stephen A. Smith. And I'm telling you, Stephen A., and we're going to talk about Stephen A. here in just a minute, Stephen A. is the most level-headed of all of them. There was a Trump town hall tonight. There was a town hall with Bill O'Reilly, Chris Cuomo, and Stephen A. Smith, and Trump called in, and we're going to react to that. That's why I was going live. It wasn't to cover Cackling Kamala, but I saw that she was live. I'm not going to put you through listening to this. It was about a 10-minute speech. We're not even going to listen to that. We're going to listen to the Trump town hall tonight, there where he called in, and it's right here. So this is what we're going to focus in on tonight. is Trump joining and taking questions right here. So that's what we're going to listen to tonight. So you guys ready to jump in? Let me see what everybody's saying in the chat really quick. Spirian with the 199 super sticker. Thank you, Spirian. Roll Tide 55 says, is Kamala ever sober? LOL. The answer would be no. Mark says, well, I'm glad she settled that. Lock it in. Lock it in. Yay. But yeah, so there's actually been a lot going on. Specifically, let me see if I can find, let's see here. ALX just tweeted it out. God, here it is. This is her. Oh, here's her coming out tonight right here.
Everyone. Hi. Oh, it's good to be home. Thank you. Oh, hi, Andrea. Hi, everyone. Thank you all. Thank you. And Dougie's here too.
Oh, God. This is so cringe, man.
Oh, please have a seat. Please have a seat. Oh, it's wonderful to be home.
Damn, they sat down quick, too. They were like, yeah, good. We really weren't wanting to cheer for you anyway. It reminds me of this.
And she mentioned thank you about 50 times. Did you see the beginning? Thank you. 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 I said, what the hell is wrong with her?
Thank you. Please, thank you so very much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Oh, man. Midnight Light says, hail, Jeremy at the 199. Been watching you and Geese and Gamers for years. Is the WWE writing Drunk 3PO script for turning heel? Love you all. He has gone full heel. Jay has turned heel. That's what happens, man. So he's gone full John Cena on everybody. So, but yes, if you're just tuning in, a second CobraCast today. Just figured I would go ahead and cover this where Trump, this is about a 26-minute video where Trump calls in and takes questions and talks to these guys. So I think it's a pretty interesting format for sure. Jimmy Hoop says, is it true Biden needed to help to go to the bathroom? I mean, I would imagine so. He needed help climbing stairs. He needed help remembering things. He needed an auto pen to sign executive orders. So yeah, I would believe that for sure. Okay, so let's start this party right now.
Which is tragic for everyone. People hope that I improve, and I never do. So I'm going to ask you a few questions, and Cuomo's got a few, then Stephen A. You ready to go?
I think he hung up on you.
Good. Is that it? That's the interview. Mr. President, can you hear me all right?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So a series of rough polls this week, and I'm wondering how you process that. Does it hurt your feelings when you see numbers come in that are not what you'd like them to be?
Well, first of all, they're fake polls. And if you take a look at the polls, they interviewed more, and for the most part, they interviewed more Democrats than they did Republicans, which is ridiculous and unfair. And Democrats aren't voting for Trump. And you look at him, John McLaughlin, who's the most respected pollster, said I'm at 50, 55, and maybe even higher than that. And he said that these polls are largely fake. When you look at the New York Times, when you look at the Washington Post, ABC, they predicted I was going to lose Wisconsin by 17 points, and they ended up winning Wisconsin. They predicted I was going to lose the election, and I ended up winning the election. They're fake polls, number one. And I think it's a very important thing to know that and to understand it. And because polls are no different than fake writers or journalism, and it's not a pretty thing when you watch. So when you say, am I bothered by it? If I was, I'd be really helped by the fact that in the election, we won in a landslide. We won the popular vote. We won the swing states. We won the districts, 2,750 to about 505. and the election took place just a short while ago, November 5th. I think it was
But what's different now,
very
Mr.
big day
President,
for the country.
what's different
Yes.
now is the tariffs, and that's what's driving your numbers down. That some people are panicking because the stock market is so up and down, in and out. Would you agree that that has been a perception problem, the tariffs?
Yeah, but I'm an honest guy, and we have to save the country. We were losing $5 billion a day with this man that we had as a president, the auto pen president. Nobody even knows who the president was. We're losing, think of it, we're losing $5 billion a day, and a big chunk of it was from China. Now China is sending its boats back. The boats are not being unloaded because they have a 145% tariff, which is, a record-setting type tariff. And they can't sell their product here. And because of that, think of it, if you're losing all of that money, maybe you're better off not doing business with them. But I took $5 billion a day and cut it way, way down, way, way back. And I did that within a very short period of time.
When do you think, though, it's going to turn around economically so that people aren't?
These are good questions. Bill O'Reilly knows Trump well. I think we're going to have some interesting questions and conversation here for sure. John freaking Murdoch says, I thought I missed you earlier today. You're killing me, Smalls. What's up, John Murdoch in the house? I noticed you weren't there earlier, but I did go live at a very, very early time. So here we are now, and that's all that matters. Hail to you, brother. Thank you for the 50. Robert Bro curses, how is your smashed hand, Jeremy? It's okay. It's actually, I don't think I've told this story many times. I don't know if people are going to be able to see this, but do you see that? Do you see the scar on my hand? It's like right here. There's a scar. I don't know if people can see that. See that scar? That was from when I was younger, and I got jumped at a brawl. It was a crazy story, but I ended up getting knocked out. I got hit from behind and knocked out and got the shit kicked out of me. And when I woke up at my house, my face was completely fucked up. And I was so frustrated because I found out my girlfriend at the time had gotten hit too. And so I punched my mirror when I saw my face, and when I found out what happened to her, I punched my mirror and shattered my hand. I didn't break any bones, but I did shatter my hand. And this was when I was like in my 20s, probably. Shattered my hand. I had to go to the hospital. They had to, do a bunch of work on it. And I remember this. I remember the male nurse coming in there, and the male nurse was like having a conversation with me about like cosmetic repair and all this bullshit. And I just remember my mom and my girlfriend there at the time. And I looked at the male nurse and I said, sir, this is my jerk off hand. Okay. I don't really care cosmetically about what happens. I need to know when I can jerk off again, because I like to use my left hand occasionally because it feels like a new chick, but I'd rather just have my original hand. And he got so offended and he prissed and walked away. And he was like, oh, so disgusting. And I was just saying, my mom and my girlfriend were like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And I'm like, it's an honest question. I don't care about cosmetically how my hand looks. I just need to know when I can use it for the important things. There you go. So anyway, that got me off all because of your $5 super chat. That's what sent me down that path right there. So there you go. Playing the interview now. Back to it. Thank you for the super chats.
Frightened. Do you have a timeline on it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a very fair question. Building plants, building equipment, building so much right now. You probably heard it could be $8 trillion. It could be more than $8 trillion of new investments. Outside in one of my offices waiting for me is the president and chairman of Eli Lilly. And I just left, you take a look, IBM was here today. IBM was here. They're spending billions of dollars. I had some of the biggest Apple, as you know, is spending $500 billion. They're building their plants, and they've already started in the United States. As you know, they built most of them in China. We had the biggest companies in the world. I had a conference here just about an hour and a half ago, and some of the people are still here. They remain. some of the people are watching your show tonight. But they're spending, it could be close, I think we're over $8 trillion of new investment. That's unheard of. It's never been anything
But
like
most
that.
people, but they want to know a
They're doing that to
timeline.
avoid the tariffs, Bill.
Okay.
They're doing that to avoid the tariffs.
But do you have
What's so funny about this is that all of these guys have interviewed Trump, and Bill O'Reilly knows him well. All of them have privately probably discussed, they're like, Trump is like a freight train. We have to try to control him. We've only got him for X amount of minutes. And when we ask him a question, he's going to be a freight train and we're going to have to step in. They've all discussed it. But even with them knowing how Trump is and preparing, they still can't control him.
have a timeline yourself? Do you say, look, it's got to stabilize by this time, fall? Because remember, if it doesn't stabilize this time next year, Democrats may win the midterms. So there is risk here, big risk.
That's true. It is true. And I just think that I'll be
100%
able to
Navy boy.
convince people how good this is. This is what other countries
Thank
have
you,
done
Raul.
to us. We've been the laughing stock and the whipping post. We've been ripped off by every country practically in the world, just ripped off on trade. And by the way, ripped off with NATO and the military too, because we supported NATO to a tune that was almost, at one point until I became president, it was close to 100%. We were spending. So we're spending on NATO to protect Europe. And then on Europe, they're
Why does Stephen A keep like going like this? Like he's getting ready for like a prize fight. It's like, dude, you're a talking head. Okay. You don't have to sit there and act like you're a prize fighter. Watch Stephen A. Look at him. Watch Stephen A.
at one point until I became president, it was close to 100%. We were spending. So we're spending on NATO to protect Europe. And then on Europe, they're ripping us off on trade. But if you look at the European Union, they've been brutal to the United States. We lose $300 billion, $350 billion a year to Europe. They don't take our cars. We take 10 million of their cars.
That's getting
they don't
better,
take our
though.
farm products.
Right.
We take their farm products. And it has to change.
All right.
So,
Okay, but
I'm willing to be the one that does that, but it has to change. And I've been given a lot of credit. I got an editorial today by a group that I won't mention, but a group that's a very sort of a semi-anti-Trump group. And they said, whether you like it or not, he's the most consequential president that we've ever had because he's doing things that if you don't do it, we won't have a country left.
okay, and that's a legitimate point. One more question for me, then I'm Cuomo, then Stephen A.
I just saw a tweet from ALX that says, breaking news, big balls of Doge and Elon Musk will be on Fox News tomorrow with Jesse Waters. So Elon Musk and big balls are going to be on Fox News with Jesse Waters. CobraCast will be live to cover that. We will react to it. That's going to be a banger. Let's freaking go. That is awesome right there. Hell yeah. All right, here we go.
You signed a deal with Ukraine to harvest minerals today.
Yes.
What were you and Zelensky talking about when you were nose to nose in the Vatican?
I was telling him that it's a very good thing if we can produce a deal that you sign it, because Russia is much bigger and much stronger. Russia is just chugging forward. It's a big, strong country. By the way, not nearly as strong as the United States, because I rebuilt our military in my first term. They gave a lot of it away in Afghanistan, and Afghanistan is one of the reasons we had an incompetent president, grossly incompetent. He should have never been president. But we had a man that didn't know what the hell he was doing. And Afghanistan showed the stupidity of our leader and the weakness of the military. We have a great military.
Thank you,
I knocked
Heartbreak
down
Zero.
ISIS in 3
Thank you,
weeks.
Wasted
All right,
Thank
well,
you,
you
Rob.
got the
Thanks, Rob.
deal. You got the deal with Zelensky on the minerals. That means the United States is going to have a presence in Ukraine. Is that going to inhibit Putin, do you think?
Well, it could, but the reason I did that is that we're in for $350 billion or close to it. whereas Europe is only in it for $100 billion.
All right, so we get
That's a
some of
lot.
our investment back. All
I
right, Cuomo.
felt very foolish. You know, they loaned the money.
He's
And
steamrolling,
Biden
baby.
handed them $350 billion in between cash and military equipment. 350, we got nothing. And I felt very foolish being the head of a country where Europe gets their money back and it's a much smaller amount and we get nothing. So I went to them and said, look, we got to get rare earth. They have great rare earth, meaning certain minerals, materials. They have things that a lot of places don't have. It's a big asset that they have. And we made a deal today where we get, you know, much more in theory than the $350 billion. But I wanted to be protected. I didn't want to be out there and look foolish. And this is not my war. This is Biden's war. I'm just trying to stop it. But
Okay.
the reason I want it stopped is they're losing 5,000 young soldiers every single week on average. Russian and Ukrainian. They're not American, but they're human beings. And it's so sad to see it. So
All
I
right.
want to stop the war.
Let's get Cuomo in here.
Mr. President, it's Chris Cuomo. Thank you for taking
Hi,
the
Chris.
opportunity.
Good.
Appreciate
Thank
you doing it.
Okay.
A couple of points of uncertainty. You're talking about, you just said a moment ago that you believe you can convince the American people about what you're doing. One of the things that keeps coming up in polling is that they don't know what you're doing and why you're doing it, that there doesn't seem to be a plan. What does that mean to you in terms of how you have to make the case to the American people to have them deal with the period that it takes for a turnaround?
Well, the problem is Chris, is I have to be flexible because as you do things in life and in business, you need flexibility. You can't just be hard line and I'm going to run right through a wall and I'm never going to go over it or around it. I'm going to go straight. You have to be able to dodge and move and be flexible, and especially in business. Now, with the cars, I'm getting a 25% tariff.
What's Stephen A. doing?
We're taking in billions and billions of dollars, but they're hurt because they can't switch over 100% of the content of the car within a very short period of time. So they came to see me. I understood their problem, and I gave them a period of a year where I brought it down, and then another year. So I gave them a short period, 2 years, where they have to be switched over 100%, where every single part in the car is made in the USA. Now, if I didn't do that, it would have been very, very tough for them. And so what I am is flexible. And if I didn't do that, it would be very tough for these companies. And these companies, it's a transition period, Chris. And transition's an important word because as you do things, you'll say, well, it's like being on the battlefield. You're on the battlefield. Sometimes you're going to move to the left flank, but then you end up moving to the right flank. And it's very much like that in business. And frankly, it's very much like that in life. But we're taking in hundreds of billions of dollars. And if you look at China now, they're not, look, we lost $1 trillion on trade with this Biden. China was just taking us out to lunch. There's never been anything like it, the way we were ripped off. We were ripped off by China, but we were ripped off by everybody, but really by China. They were the king of ripping off the United States. Now they're not doing any business here because I don't want them to do business. So I set a high tariff.
Thanks, 8 o'clock.
I don't want them to do business. Now, will we make a deal? There's a very good chance we're going to make a deal, but we're going to make it on our terms.
Okay. Mr. President,
I'm not sure who that is.
Mr. President, in the upcoming budget negotiations, another point of uncertainty is what happens to entitlements. Whether or not waste, fraud, and abuse, I think everybody's in favor of seeing that identified and exposed, but that Social Security benefits or the adjustments or the application of it may be compromised, or Medicaid may be compromised in terms of who gets how much in benefits. Do you have a commitment for the American people in terms of how much you will protect those programs?
We're not doing anything with entitlements. And if you look at Social Security, and by the way, I think I'm better to say this than anybody because I did nothing with entitlements that would hurt people for 4 years. I could have done that. If I was going to do that, I would have done it 5 years ago, 6 years ago, or 7 years ago. I'm not doing anything. The only thing is, you say don't talk about waste, fraud, and abuse. There is a lot of waste, fraud, and abuse. There are a lot of illegal aliens that are getting Medicaid that shouldn't be getting it. And nobody objects to taking people off Medicaid that aren't allowed to be there. But we are doing absolutely nothing to hurt Medicare, Medicaid, or Social Security. Nothing at all.
Stephen A.
Mr. President, how are you,
Hello,
sir?
Stephen.
How are
I
you?
remember you from a long time ago, Stephen.
Yes,
How
I
have
do.
you been?
He's the same, Mr. President. He hasn't changed at all.
True. I
I'm
think that's true.
Just trouble morning, night, and afternoon.
Congratulations,
That's all
Mr.
right.
President. Honored to
Hello.
talk to you. Here's the deal. You talked about obviously you've introduced aggressive tariffs and significant budget cuts aimed at federal spending. Many critics say these policies disproportionately impact lower income Americans. How do you address concerns that your economic policies primarily benefit wealthy Americans while harming working class Americans?
It actually creates jobs for the middle income. It's going to be better for the middle income. It's going to save our country because we're going to become rich again. Stephen, we lose so much money on trade. It's unbelievable. And instead of losing a lot of money, and they did to us for years what I'm doing to them right now. They charged us tariffs. They wouldn't let us build anything in our country. They said, you want to sell a Ford or you want to sell a General Motors car or anything, you come to China and build your plant in China. You come to the European nations and build your plant in Germany. You build it in France. You build it where we have no interest in letting you. As an example, we don't sell any cars virtually in China. We don't sell any cars in Europe, any. And yet Europe sells millions of cars, Mercedes, BMW, Volkswagen, millions and millions of cars. They won't take our agricultural product. It's great product. They won't take almost anything for us, but we take their cars, we take their agriculture. Those days are over. We have to have fair trade. We're losing billions and billions of dollars, hundreds of billions of dollars, and it's not fair. And it's time for the American people to be properly protected by somebody that knows what he's doing. And I know what I'm doing perfectly. It's a little complicated subject. I've got to explain it. I've got to have people that can explain it. But I can tell you that right now we have over 100 countries that are calling us like morning, noon, and night, dying to make a deal. We're in a great position of strength. We'll make great deals. And where we don't make deals, Stephen, we're just going to set the deals. We'll say that country is going to pay a 20% tariff. That country is going to pay 15%. Another one's going to pay 30 or 40% because we have a big, deficit with a certain country. They're going to pay 30, 40, 50, 60%. So we'll just set those deals. I could set those deals tomorrow and do
Steamrolling,
away
baby.
with negotiating, but we're negotiating with South Korea. We're negotiating with Japan. We're negotiating with a lot of different, many. India is a very big, they want to make a deal so badly.
Okay.
I'm not telling anything out of school. We're going to make great deals for America instead of bad.
Well-
And if I didn't take this hard line, India, as an example, had no interest
Stephen
in
A., you ain't
negotiating
built
with
for this.
anybody in Biden, or frankly, anybody with us.
You're not
They
built
had
for
no
this,
fear.
Stephen
They
A.
were ripping us really badly.
Look at
One of the
O'Reilly
highest
looking at
tariff
him.
nations in the world. They were taking advantage of us. Now they're calling us and they're saying, please, let's make a deal.
When are you going to
We're in a
announce it?
position of strength.
When are you going to announce? I understand you have a deal with South Korea, Japan, and India. You already got it. When are you announcing it?
Well, we have potential deals with them, yeah. But I'm in, okay, I'll tell you this. I'm in less of a hurry than you are. We are sitting on the catbird seat. They want us. We don't need them.
All right, remember
But we
the
wanna
folks
be
are
good to
nervous,
them,
though.
But they've been ripping us. Let me just tell you, they've been ripping us off.
We got that,
for
but the
years.
folks.
South Korea has been ripping us off. We pay for their military. You know,
Dude, this is like a game because it's like, who can actually slow down Trump? How can we get anything in? How can we have any discussion? It's fucking fantastic, dude.
when I was there, I got them to pay billions of dollars toward the military. We pay for their military. They take advantage of us on trade. Now, these are friend and foe. We often do better with foe, meaning the enemy, than we do with the friends. The friends have been brutal to this country on trade.
But remember, once you announce the stock market's going to go up 2,000 points and people will relax
That's okay.
a little
It
more.
can wait 2 weeks.
They can wait.
2
All
weeks.
right. Okay.
Mr. President, an additional question that might require an explanation. Your administration has issued executive orders dismantling DEI initiative across federal agencies, including revoking equal opportunity mandates and slashing funding for minority-owned businesses. Critics argue these actions reverse decades of civil rights progress.
Oh,
So how do you
God.
justify these measures, and what message do they send to the marginalized communities in this country?
Well, it was won at the civil, as you know, it was won at the Supreme Court. And what we're doing is we have a country that's based solely on merit now. And that's the way it is. If somebody's out there doing a great job, and this includes getting into colleges, if you've worked really hard, and we don't look at race, we don't look at color, we don't look at height or shortness or weight.
Thank
If
you.
somebody is doing a good job and they worked and they got great marks and they got great board numbers and they get rejected at this Harvard, which has been so disgusting, so horribly. I mean, so think of it. They hired Bill de Blasio and Lori Lightfoot, the two worst mayors in the history. They pay them a fortune.
But
and
that was the course, though.
They're teaching management.
The
Let
course
me just
was
tell you that
the
it's
course
based
was
now, Stephen, on merit.
the course at
Everything is
Harvard,
based
though,
on
Mr.
merit.
President, was how to be a bad mayor. That was the course. So they had to
Well,
hire
that would
those
be
two.
good. Then they would be terrific.
Laura, I got a studio audience question from Lee Shapiro. Lee's a tough guy. Lee says, "What's the biggest mistake you think you've made in the first 100 days?"
Oh, Trump doesn't admit mistakes. He does.
I'll tell you, that's the toughest question I can have because I don't really believe I've made
You made any mistakes?
Yeah.
We're in a transition period.
I think
I
Lee
think
is
you're gonna see-
reassured.
I think you're going to see tremendous economic victories over the next period of a year, like far greater than ever imagined. Right now, as I said, we're losing.
Why is it somebody in the audience can ask a better question than three longtime media guys? Why is it an audience member is actually better at asking Trump a question that he can't just immediately steamroll? Because the people get it. None of these clown talking heads get it.
Billions and billions of dollars on trade. We're going to make billions and billions of dollars, but it takes a little while. That doesn't happen overnight, but it will happen much faster than people understand.
All right, Cuomo's got one more.
All right, let me get Stephen Smith in here, and then I got a question for you, Mr.
Well,
I appreciate your time.
Mr. President, thank you for your time. It's interesting that you brought up Harvard because when people think about Harvard, what they're basically talking about is they're asking, what do you say to those who view your actions as an attack on academic freedom rather than a defense of fairness? What do you say to that?
Well, I say this: we had riots in Harlem, in Harlem, and frankly, if you look at what's gone on, and people from Harlem went up and they protested, Stephen, and they protested very strongly against Harvard. They happened to be on my side. You know, I got a very high black vote. You know that. Very, very high black vote. It was a very great compliment to me. I did criminal justice reform. I did opportunity zones for one of the greatest economic deals ever for the Black and Hispanic community. I got tremendous. They agree with what I'm doing with respect to Harvard. Harvard gets $4 or $5 billion a year from the United States government in the form of grants, and they have $53 billion, and yet they don't treat the people right. They take foreign students, nobody knows where they come from, and they viciously hate our country. And I'm saying if we're going to give grant money, we want people in that school that are going to love our country, not people that are going to hate our country. They run a bad operation up there, and we have to get to the bottom of it. On top of that, they said they want to teach their students remedial mathematics. That's basic math. 2 and 2 is 4. And you say, well, Harvard's supposed to be so great. Why do people have to have remedial? That's basic, very simple mathematics. So we're looking into Harvard, but we give them billions of dollars a year, and that may very well stop. And that's up to the president. It's up to our government. We don't have to grant them money. We can grant that money to people that really need it. And frankly, people that you'd rather have me give the money to, Stephen.
Mr. President, as a graduate of Winston-Salem State University, which is an H.B.C.U., I'm fully aware of the contributions that you've made to H.B.C.Us in the past.
Thank you.
There is a concern, however, that with all the things going on in this day and time, that there will be a cut in federal contributions to HBCUs. Should HBCUs be very concerned about you making cuts in that regard?
Not at all. And let me just tell you, I'm glad you brought it. Historically Black colleges and universities, I saved them, Stephen, They were going out of business. They came to me, about 50 people that headed up, and they came to me the first year, and I took care of them. I took care of the black colleges and historically black H.B.C.U. I took care of them. You know that better than anybody. Then they came to me the second year, and I said, wait a minute. Why do you keep coming back? I saw you guys, and they were great guys. Some of them to this day are still really friendly. And by the way, they love Trump, every one of them. They came to me the second time.
Well, you're giving them money.
They came to me the second time. They came to me the second time, and I was surprised to see him.
Mr. President.
Yeah, just to finish it. They came to me the third, and I said, fellas, you need long-term. I got the historically black colleges and universities. I got them more money than they ever dreamt possible. And they're in great shape now, and they have long-term financing. Nobody did that but Donald Trump.
Okay. Stephen A. Smith may run for president, as you know. Do you have any advice for Stephen A. If he launches the run?
No, Stephen A. He's a good guy. He's a smart guy. I love watching him. He's got great entertainment skills, which is very important. People watch him. You know, a lot of these Democrats I watch, I say they have no chance. I've been pretty good at picking people and picking candidates, and I will tell you, I'd love to see him run.
All right, there you go. You got one more?
Not me. I like him too much. Mr. President, we're gonna let you go. Thank you very much. I just wanted to ask you something because I know that for you, legacy matters. You talk about it in-house. You talk about it out-of-house. When you got shot, I reached out through family. I wanted to talk to you, and I wanted to tell you a couple of things. One was that I hope that you were okay and that your family was dealing with it all right. And the second one was that I was embarrassed by how it was being covered as if maybe it didn't happen. And I told my audience that I spoke to you. I didn't talk about the details of the conversation because they didn't matter. But there was a lot of heat that came my way as if I shouldn't have been making a comfort call to Donald Trump. We're very divided. You know this. You want to be remembered as one of the greatest presidents in America. You know our history. Every president who's considered great was seen as a unifier. What do you need to do to be remembered as someone who could bring this country together?
Well, I think I will be a great unifier. That's what I want to be, and it's very important to me. Hispanic vote, I got the highest Hispanic vote, maybe, I think, ever for a Republican candidate. If you look at the border between Mexico and Texas, I won every single border state, and it was all Hispanic vote. I won Miami. I won Florida. I think I am a unifier. I think I have votes that Republicans have never gotten before.
Yes.
And that's why I was able to win the election in such a big fashion.
Yep.
With all of that being said, what I have to do is save the country. The country was going down the tubes. This country was in big trouble. You had a border where millions of people were pouring in from jails, from prisons. They were pouring in at levels from mental institutions, gang members, terrorists, and we're getting them out. You can't have a country with these people there. We had 11,888 murderers. Many of these people killed more than one person. More than 50% of them killed more than one person. We got to get them out of their country. I don't know if that's unity or disunity, but I have no choice. You know, some things you have no choice, but I do remember your call. I appreciate your call, and I actually appreciate your family. I've known your family for a long time. You know that.
Mr. President, I want to thank you very much for taking the time on a very busy day. Our audience there. And it was very kind of you to do it, and I think people got a lot out of it. Thanks again.
Thank you much. Thank you very much, everybody.
All right.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our new.
So that was pretty good. Look, Trump dominated the whole conversation as he always does. That was fantastic. So that was my first time watching it. So, with all of you, that was just as entertaining as I anticipated it being. It's great to watch him in that environment. And I wish that it was in person. And I'm sure we're going to see something like that in person, but we could say, things about Bill O'Reilly or Chris Cuomo or Stephen A. Smith. They are very, very, they've been in the game for a long time. and they typically handle every situation that they're in. They're able to control it. You have three of these guys together that have decades and decades of experience, three of the biggest voices in all of media, and Trump just steamrolled these guys like they were children. It just shows the absolute alpha nature of Trump, where it's just like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who you put in with this guy. He's going to steamroll them. It's absolutely awesome. Congrats on 100K. Thank you. Yeah, I hit 100,000 followers on Twitter. That's absolutely insane, by the way. I was wondering if I was going to fall below it. I was over 100,000 and then 100, but now it's dropped. Twitter followers come and go. Like, I don't know. Twitter's got all these bots and things like that. So, I'm not sure what the deal with the platform is. I've got a few clips that I want to show you guys. Let me read a few super chats. We've got a lot of clips actually. So 8 o'clock says it's been a hot minute since I started watching you. Started with Don Lemon and Elon Musk podcast. Fun times in the snake pit. Hell yeah, man. Good to see you here. Heartbreak Zero says China was allowed into the World Trade Organization on December 11th, 2001 at 12 a.m. They started cheating at 12:01 that same day. The trade war is long overdue. Lying Dogface Pony Soldier with the gifted membership. Stone Farmer says, can't believe I've been a member for almost a year. Hail IDOTS 199. The Mass Marvel says, imagine if Stephen A. Smith gets friendly with Trump and runs as a Republican. I don't think that's going to happen, but yeah, I don't think, because Stephen A doesn't. I have probably a more positive opinion of Stephen A than probably a lot of people watching this stream right now, because I've been watching the guy for a long time, because I've been a sports fan my whole life. So I'm very aware of what Stephen A is and isn't. He's not a stupid person. He's actually a very smart person. And when he doesn't know things, he can bullshit his way through it. He's very good at that. And he doesn't know a lot, but he's able to bullshit his way through a lot of the stuff. But the stuff he knows, he's good at. He's also good at putting himself in a good position. He is a politician, which is why he's been able to be elevated at ESPN. But he's not the guy that will buck the system. He will be controlled by the Democrats because he's scared of his fellow black community people, where if they tell him, oh, you can't get too close to Trump, you're turning your back on your race and all, like, he will 100% bend the knee immediately. He's scared to death of his people turning on him. He always has been. And so even when Stephen A starts having like what some people might think is based opinions, all it takes is for his Democrats and his people to call him out, and he will backpedal immediately. So if he was the nominee for the Democrats, which I'm not sure about all that, but I do think he's going to get involved. If he ends up being the nominee, he will be a puppet of the Democratic Party. He absolutely will. And to be clear, everybody is a puppet in politics except for Trump. Trump's the only guy that actually does it his way and doesn't listen to anybody. That's why he's such a rarity. Like, there's nobody else like this guy. There's nobody. Let's see. Marlena says, clearly Stephen A has Tourette's. He should call Beardo. Clutch City fan says, Snake Pit, how we doing 18 months strong? Jeremy Still Gay. What's up, man? I'm watching the playoffs right now. Lakers are down by 2 in the third quarter. So Lakers are down by 2. So we'll see what happens there. I'm keeping my eye on all of that. Okay, so we do have some clips to watch. Let me pull up my bookmarks really quickly. See what we got here. There's one in particular. I haven't seen this clip yet, but it looks funny, so we're gonna watch it together. So we covered the Big Mike comments earlier, the Michelle Obama comments. And apparently Alex Jones has commented on it. So let's hear what Alex Jones has to say.
And then there's a lot more of it. This little jewel, Big Mike, Michelle Obama, on a podcast saying, I'm a black man. How many times did Obama introduce her as my husband, Michael? Oh, those are real videos. How many times did she come out and forget to tuck that anaconda? If you ain't got buns, hun, my anaconda don't want none.
Ugh.
And you know, Mike pitches and Obama catches. So that's all coming up.
Now, I have video of the podcast. If you guys have not seen the video, I will show you the video. If you haven't seen it, it is shocking. It is very shocking and very concerning. And we're just going to have to watch it together. I would say if you have young children in the room, please don't let them watch this. But this is the shocking footage from earlier today of Big Mike. Here we go.
You are being a role model for dealing with a child that's transgender.
Absolutely.
And that's, that warms my heart, particularly as a Black man. You
Woo! There we go, ladies and gentlemen. There the clip is right there. So it was shocking. I was not prepared for that. I wasn't, but there it is, man. Very, very shocking stuff. Okay, so I saw this clip from James Carville running his mouth. Let's see what's happening here.
I would not extend these billionaires' tax cuts, and I would not pay for them by clobbering the middle class and the lower middle class by cutting Medicaid expenses, of which
He said he wasn't going to cut Medicaid.
Go watch the budget that's been submitted. It's already got 600. He said he was going to end the war.
There's nothing about cutting Medicaid in the budget.
Did
This
he
is
say
your
or not say?
propaganda,
Did
Jim.
he say I'm not? Did he say or not say I'm going to end the
A bunch of
Ukraine war?
bull, and you know it.
Can I?
No, you can't. You can't say it's in the budget. There's a Medicaid cut when there isn't.
Go, Bill.
I thought you were interrupting me.
I am. This is ridiculous.
Can I
And he
make a
does
point?
it every night.
Can I make a point?
All right. Shout out to Bill. Hell yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
He was going to end the Ukraine war on day one.
Oh, come on.
Oh, you
It's
didn't say that?
absurd.
But
What did Biden do for 4 years in there? Nothing.
I didn't
drive me
say that.
nuts.
He said he was going to end the Ukraine
can't tell
war.
by your
Please
demeanor.
fact check me. Somebody look
Very
it up on
calm.
your cell phone. Did Trump say I'm going to end the Ukraine war on day one?
And I was going to wear an LSU T-shirt, but I'm not now.
You don't have to.
Can I ask a quick question?
We'll get over it.
We got to fight to get into this.
This is they need to do stuff like this more often. Who was it that said, I think it was Vivek. Remember when Vivek said that, the Republican Party, because this is when I think NBC had what's her name that does Meet the Press as one of the moderators, and Vivek said, you should have Elon Musk, Joe Rogan, and Tucker Carlson as moderators right now, and you would have the entire world watching. Why does the Republican Party continue to reach out to these clowns and give them a platform? You have the most prominent voices in the world. And if you actually worked together, could you imagine a Republican debate? Now, obviously, we're past that now, but I'm just talking about like hypothetically. If a Republican debate had Joe Rogan, Tucker Carlson, and maybe not Elon Musk because he's so tied to the administration now, and Theo Vaughn, okay? Get Theo Vaughn, Joe Rogan, and Tucker Carlson to be the moderators at a Republican debate. Do you know how many more people would watch? And then you would have the people that would never have watched otherwise would be watching, and they would be hearing conservative ideas, and they would be hearing from the party and understanding, and you're getting them to know the candidates. It would be insane. It would be absolutely insane. Why don't they do this? There's no reason to not do this. So maybe moving forward, they can work on something like that. It would break everything. I do remember when Vivek said that. Vivek's kind of disappeared. Anybody know what's going on with Vivek? Like, he's kind of just fallen off the map. I don't know what's going on with that guy anymore. So, not sure. You can sell tickets for that. You could. It would be must-see TV. Everybody would want to watch that. Everybody. All right, I haven't seen this clip. I'm not sure what we're going to see in this clip. All right, but it's the Hodge Twins, and I just want to watch it because it looks funny. So let's see what the Hodge Twins got to say right here.
All right, so this woman right here moved to Africa.
Why?
She's regretting it.
Why?
Because of the racism. Yeah, listen what she has to say.
I'd rather live in a neighborhood full of Klansmen than I move to Africa, a bunch of crazy Negroes.
Yeah, I'd rather live.
Oh, God, I love the Hodge Twins so much, dude.
Around a bunch of white rednecks.
I'd rather go back to America and deal with the racism in America before I sit here in Africa and deal with the bullshit bribery, the bullshit, bro.
How many times have we seen people that are here in America and they have all of the situation? They've never found themselves in a situation where they've actually experienced racism, but they pretend that they've experienced it. They actually you have privilege if you live in America. You just do. And we've said, man, it would be something if you actually lived in a different country and experienced what it was like over there. That's what we have right now.
Fraud, the bullshit scams.
Somebody said, who said it in the chat? Demi Ho said Netflix Gorlock. No. Netflix Gorlock. Holy shit.
The bullshit too expensive. The bullshit not having no snacks. The bullshit not having no food.
Not having
the bullshit
snacks.
electricity.
Not having snacks. Stop.
The bullshit not having no snacks. The bullshit not having no food. The bullshit electricity. The bullshit hot water.
You need to come with some more adjectives.
The bullshit animals and scorpions outside the house. It's big ass spiders. It's big ass lizards. Colorful lizards you ain't never seen before. All in the fucking room with you. Sleeping with you. I'm really trying to wrap my head around how are Americans coming to Africa and being happy.
Y'all taking these white people in America for granted, man. I'm telling you. Nothing has ever been invented within the green area of this continent. Absolutely nothing ever. Not even writing. Zero. What invention ever came out of Africa? I'm sure they've invented something. What, crime?
I fucking love the Hodge Twins, dude. No snacks. No snacks is the greatest thing I've ever heard. Woo! That's it, man. That's that. Appreciate that moment. We have said time and time again, like if one of these clowns could actually go over and live in a different country, you would appreciate all of the wonderful opportunities that you have in the United States of America. Is it perfect? Nothing's perfect. Nothing is perfect, period. But nothing is better than the United States of America. And that's just the reality of the situation right there. Let's see. All right. So Ana Navarro had a meltdown. Okay. So Ana Navarro had a meltdown, apparently. Let's hear this. She always has a meltdown.
I know you're not. This country illegally, you are going home. Simple as that. We do not have unlimited resources.
I think a lot of Americans
to take care of other people.
There's a hell of a lot of
people
other
than the black people who were brought here as slaves who came to this country illegally. They're
from a
not
lot
the
of
same as
different-
black people who were brought here against
That's
our will.
exactly what I
They
just said.
decide
I
to
said
walk
there is
their
a
butts
lot of
across the
people
border. There's a
other
big
than the
difference.
black
There is
people.
a big
That's
difference.
exactly what I
There's a
just
big
said.
difference.
That's
Chair
exactly
Michael,
what I just
Chair
said, Chair
Michael,
Michael.
and
Look and act indignant. That's
Okay.
exactly what
It's
I
not
just
about
said.
acting
I-
indignant.
Yes, it is.
let me
You
know
just heard me
Chair
say
Michael.
that's other than the black
Anna
people.
and
Let's
Chair
go.
Michael.
High
There
ground
are
here.
a lot of people from
Chair
many,
Michael, I
many
think you
countries
actually
that came
misheard
here
what she.
illegally.
I think you misheard what she said.
No, he purposely misheard.
She said.
I purposely
Yes, you
misheard.
did.
So now you're in my
Chair
brain?
Michael, listen to me for
Is
just a
that
second.
where we're going?
You
Chair
think
Michael,
I would
listen to me
say
for a
I will have
second.
advocated
Anna,
for black
please
people
stop.
my entire life and
Anna,
say something like that?
Anna,
Give me a
Because
damn
you've
break.
advocated for black
Anna,
people,
please
great.
stop.
Congratulations. Last time I checked, I'm black. You're not.
Okay, Chair Michael.
That's right. I'm Latino and my people are being racially
It is-
profiled.
it is-
and
And do I have to
unfairly
remind you the history of my people?
Chair
Do you
Michael.
want to go there?
No, I
Do you
don't.
really
Okay,
want to go
we're
there?
gonna
and
go
know
break.
how
know the
ground?
history.
Raul,
Kidding
we're going to
me?
go to
You know
break.
why?
Raul
Because
Reyes,
kidding
thank
me?
you very much for
Because
joining us.
history-
Everybody else,
Woo!
hang tight.
History was not
We'll be right back.
erased when I was studying history like the Texas.
Yes. Oh my God. That was awesome. You know what? I'm rewatching that again. That is great. We're going to watch the whole thing. Somebody says it's kind of like Tuesday night's main event.
No, I know you're
If you come to
not.
this country illegally, you are going home. Simple as
Okay.
that. We do not
Listen,
have unlimited
I
resources.
think
Oh, well, hang on. So who is this guy? Because he kind of sounds, he doesn't actually sound like a loony leftist with what he just said. I don't know who this guy is, but he doesn't sound like a loony leftist with what he just said in that opening line. So listen to that one more time.
No,
If
I
you
know
come
you're
to
not.
this country illegally,
He's not. He's based. Okay. Is he a Trump supporter? Yeah, that makes a lot of sense then. Is he a Trump supporter, chat? Let me see. Yes, he is. That makes a lot of sense then. So him checking her, he basically one-upped her on the identity politics. Fucking fantastic.
No, I
if you
know
come
you're
to
not.
this country illegally, you are going home. Simple as
Okay.
that. We do not
Listen,
have unlimited
I
resources
think
in
a
this
lot of
country
Americans-
to take care of other
There's
people.
a hell of
We
a
have
lot
our
of
own
people
people
other than the
first,
black
Anna.
people who were brought here as slaves who came to this country illegally.
They're
From a
not
lot
the
of
same as
different-
black people who were brought here against
That's
our will.
exactly what I
They
just said.
decide
I
to
said
walk
there is
their
a
butts
lot
across
of
the
people
border. There's
other
a big
than the
difference.
black
There is
people.
a big
That's
difference.
exactly what I
There's a
just
big
said.
difference.
That's
Chair
exactly
Michael,
what I just
Chair
said, Chair
Michael,
Michael.
and
Look and act indignant. That's
Okay.
exactly what
It's
I
not
just
about
said.
acting
I-
indignant.
Yes, it is.
let me
You
listen
just heard
to
me
Chair
say
Michael.
that's other than the black
Anna
people
and
who
Chair
came
Michael.
as slaves.
High
There
ground.
are a lot of people from
Chair
many,
Michael, I
many
think you
countries
actually
that came
misheard
here
what she.
illegally.
I think you misheard what she said.
No, he purposely misheard.
She said.
I purposely
Yes, you
misheard.
did.
So now you're in my
Chair
brain.
Michael, listen to me for
Is
just a
that
second.
where we're going?
You
Chair
think
Michael,
I would
listen to me
say
for a
I will
second.
have advocated
Anna,
for black
please
people
stop.
my entire life and
Anna,
say something like that?
Anna,
Give me a
Because
damn
you've
break.
advocated for black
Anna,
people,
please
great.
stop.
Congratulations. Last time I checked, I'm black. You're not.
Okay, Chair Michael.
That's right. I'm Latino and my people are being racially
It is-
profiled.
it is-
and
And do I have to
unfairly
remind you the history of my people?
Chair
Do
Michael.
you want to go there?
No, I
Do you
don't.
really
Okay,
want to go
we're
there?
gonna
and
go
know
break.
how
know the
ground?
history.
Raul,
You're
we're going to go to
kidding me?
break.
You know
Raul
why?
Reyes,
Because
thank you
history-
very much for
history-
joining us.
people have
Everybody
history.
else,
My
hang
own people
tight.
as
History was not
We'll be right back.
erased when I was studying history.
Woo! I love it. I love it. This chick right here is one of the most annoying people in all of cable news. I hate how condescending she sounds when she's talking to people. She is one of the worst for sure. That was great. That was a great clip. Okay, that one we already had. I think we got that one. Now here's a clip, minute 45, that I had bookmarked. Stephen A. Smith apparently going off on Democrats. Let's hear what Stephen A. has to say.
I've heard politicians on Capitol Hill saying, I'm here just to disagree and oppose every damn thing Trump wants to do. Well, why are you up on Capitol Hill? Ain't you supposed to be figuring out what you want to be against and what you could potentially be for? Isn't he known as a deal maker? Hasn't he been, whether it's revered or insulted, as a non-politician? Hasn't he been somebody that gives you the impression, if you're complimentary towards him about some things that he does, and you're willing to sit down and talk with him, he will sit up there and appease you just the way he would ask you to appease him? If you're not willing to talk and work across the aisle on Capitol Hill, what the hell are you up there for?
So that is what came to my mind. You have to work with people you dislike, people you disagree with, people who you know in your core, in your core, do not have you, nor your communities, nor your constituencies' best interests at heart. You still have to work with them. If Cuomo wins the mayoral seat in New York City, Andrew Cuomo, you think he's not going to try to work with the Trump White House? Josh Shapiro is the governor of Pennsylvania. Wes Moore is the governor of Maryland.
I don't buy anything Stephen A. saying right now. This is all just spin. This is Stephen A. positioning himself as I'm a more free-thinking Democrat. That's all this is Stephen A. trying to say that I'm not as crazy as the other Democrats. That's what this is. I don't buy anything he's saying.
You think they're not going to try to work with Trump and his White House to get things done, even though they're going to speak against him on certain issues? You can't have this closed door, closed-minded, resolute belief that allows you the excuse to remain stagnant, therefore ineffective in doing your job. That's my issue with politicians.
So there you go. All right. That wasn't as impressive as the headline made it sound. I want to bring something up too. Because this is the weirdest story ever right here. John Elway, legendary quarterback for the Denver Broncos. Look at this headline. John Elway's longtime agent and business partner pronounced dead after falling off back of golf cart driven by John Elway. What? And as I said, it sounds like a fucking mob movie is what it sounds like. Now, I have some opinions on John Elway. I am personally not a fan of John Elway. I do appreciate him as an NFL football player. Always have. But my beef with him is what he did to Tim Tebow. And I think that John Elway destroyed Tim Tebow's NFL football career because John Elway was jealous of Tim Tebow because Tim Tebow was more popular in Denver than John Elway. And so he ran Tim Tebow out of town after Tim brought the Broncos back from dead and won a fucking playoff game. And of course, Tim Tebow destroyed in new John Elway book. So John Elway in 2020 released a book, and he basically is the only person I've ever heard talk bad about Tim Tebow. So all I'm saying is God don't like ugly, John Elway. So maybe you're getting paid back for all of your disrespect of Tim Tebow. Just saying. I don't know though. It is a very weird story. I tend to like, I don't believe in coincidences, generally speaking. And this sounds like a very strange headline right here. I saw the post that John Elway was like mourning his friend or whatever. And then I saw the headline and I'm like, wait a minute. John Elway was driving the golf cart that his business partner fell off of and died? I don't know, man. Very, very interesting to say the least, but I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole right now. I just wanted to mention it. I thought it was pretty interesting. Check this out. So apparently this CNN, this entertaining CNN feed was 6 minutes total. And there's ALX says so good that CNN had to cut the feed. So we're going to watch the whole thing.
The question is, has the government presented evidence in court that Abrego Garcia is a member of MS-13?
And my response,
and the answer is no, that has not happened in court. But it doesn't mean that they have not made those claims publicly. It doesn't mean that those claims are not in police reports.
In 2019.
It doesn't mean that they're not in police reports. They're just not statements that were made in
2019. The immigration judge at the time believed the Prince George's County gang unit and the evidence that they presented before that judge at the time that Mr. Garcia did indeed belong to a gang. This is not my opinion. People can Google this crap. They can Google this. CBS reported on this. If a judge believed it in 2019, is it now all of a sudden not true?
The judge granted him a withholding of removal.
No, I acknowledge that fact.
Which is a different issue. Hold on.
But the point remains that a judge found the evidence to be credible that Mr. Garcia did indeed belong to a gang. So now all of a sudden we're just not going to believe judges?
The judge.
I mean, we can't have it both ways.
I don't want to go too far down this rabbit hole, but my only point.
You don't want to go too far down the rabbit hole of facts. He's talking about facts, and you don't want to talk about that. Okay.
Is that the government has not presented beyond the police report. They have not actually presented the evidence to prove that he belonged to this gang.
So police reports not considered evidence before a court of law?
A police report.
Do judges not consider police reports? What are we saying
But
here?
Sure, Michael, what was the original?
Relevant.
Oh, he was cooking long before everything blew up. He was cooking long before.
What is relevant?
I actually want to finish the point.
It absolutely is relevant to the argument from the administration, which is that Mr. Garcia belonged to a gang as one of the reasons of deporting him out of the country. But you guys are saying there's no truth to it. There's no facts. That's not true.
The Constitution is very clear. It does not say citizens. It says no person should be deprived of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness without due process. It doesn't matter what he's done in his past. The Boston bomber. Wait a minute. Let me finish. The Boston bomber had due process.
Yeah, that's
he had due process. That's what this is about. I gave you time. Let me finish.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Trey for 10 says, been following Vivek and he's been killing it campaigning in Ohio. He will make a great governor of Ohio. Also, Vivek was just at the White House with Trump and JD, took a pic in the Oval Office. Thank you for the update, man. I appreciate that. I probably just because I'm following so much stuff that it's just slipped through the cracks, but obviously I know he's positioning himself for the governor of Ohio. So I appreciate the information there. So I like Vivek. I mean, I was not in support of Vivek as president, but I wasn't in support of anyone as president except for President Trump. But as far as him being governor of Ohio, I think that's actually, that could be really good. Logan Miller says, just for Alex Jones, also congrats to Big Mike for coming out. Thank you, Logan Miller. Appreciate that. Let me see. Panic of Skyfaller says, y'all know Trump got his Ukraine mineral deal, right? I did. I saw that while I was live on Mario Kart. So again, Trump always making things happen. Always. Heartbreak Zero says, that's why Joan Rivers died. She found Captain Winky. I remember that video. Eric K says someone had the first part where she said she was moving to Africa. This was after she moved. Oh, okay. I'll have to look that up. That's funny as hell, man. Brocatron says Titanfall 2 streams. As an ex-COD player, I want to play Titanfall 2 private matches. Can we still do Titanfall 2 private matches? Is it still? I mean, I would love to do that for over on locals. So I'm 100% okay with that. SBZ says, haven't seen Laughing Man for a while. He either got deported or he is indeed Baron Trump. Laughing Man was in the chat the other night. He hasn't been dropping bombs, but the man can't drop bombs forever in the chat. But yeah, Laughing Man was here. So shout out to Laughing Man. Let me see. All right, let's continue this.
Okay. This is a president who continues to twist the Constitution to adapt to whatever his vision is, to the point of the 2-year-old who was deported without due process, an American citizen. His father did not want him to go, and the only access he had to his daughter was listening to his daughter cry in the background in a 1-minute call. That 4-year-old did not get access to a doctor, despite the fact of having stage 4 cancer, did not have his medication with him when he was deported, an American citizen, to Honduras. This is what this president is doing. He is twisting the definition of the Constitution, and people like you are disparaging character to try to justify that.
Jennings is about to destroy him. I can just tell by the look on his face. He's about to light this dude up.
president is doing. He is twisting the definition of the Constitution, and people like you are disparaging character to try to justify that disparaging.
I'm not disparaging. Due process does matter.
Did
You're
he
right
have
about
due
that.
process?
But the idea that Mr. Garcia's past doesn't matter is ludicrous.
To
But
the
we
due
live
process
in
currently,
a
absolutely.
sovereign nation, and this idea that people can just come into our country and do whatever the heck they want to do is absurd to me. And if Democrats want to die on this hill, I promise you'll regret it politically. So go right ahead.
I love the chaos, man. We need more of this. This is why, like, I know we joke around about like Tuesday night's main event and it's shit show and all that, and it is just like Friday Night Tights is. I love chaos. Chaos is where I thrive. I feel right at home, man. Just throw everybody in there and let everybody figure it the fuck out. It's beautiful.
For Americans.
Go
Dan,
right
let me
ahead.
let
We
Scott
don't want people breaking
have a
our laws
word.
coming into our country. That is a fact.
Let me let Scott have a word, and then we'll move on.
It seems to me that the political analysis of this, though, is, and a lot of average people are looking at it this way. Why is it that we can let 20 million people into the country just walk across, whatever, and there's no real process for them to do that, but then we have to individually pick out every single person and go through years upon years upon years of paperwork and this and that and the other, and all we're trying to do is send them back to where they came from because they came here illegally in the first place. 20 million in with no process. How do you get 20 million out with years and years of people fighting every single case? You can cherry pick any case you want, but the reality is the crisis that put Donald Trump in the White House was caused over years and years and years of neglect and letting people walk into here without any process at all. And now you're trying to gum up the works to keep them here.
A lot of them came in. A lot of them came in with parole. A lot of them came in.
CNN polling shows 54% of Americans want Mr.
November
Rodrigo
polling showed
Garcia
Donald
back.
Trump won the
That's
election.
CNN polling.
Well, you know
The
what?
public is shifting.
We are a sovereign nation, and you cannot just come into our country illegally whenever the heck you want, because we can't do it to any other country on the face of this
Asylum
earth.
is a legal
If
right.
you come in illegally, you have to leave. Americans are tired of that. We do not have unlimited resources.
You know who was here illegally?
This is it right here. Let's go.
Marco Rubio's
Okay,
grandfather.
all right, let's.
We're not talking about
let's
Marco
Oh,
Rubio.
now we're not. No, that's not relevant.
It's not
No,
relevant.
I'm talking
It's not
about
relevant
Marco
to this
Rubio because Marco
conversation at
Rubio
all.
used to be an advocate for TPS for Venezuelans, and Marco Rubio used
Well,
to
I'm
be
not Marco
an
Rubio.
advocate for Nicaraguans and
my
Cubans.
beliefs.
No, I
If
know
you
you're
come to
not.
this country illegally, you are going home. Simple as
Okay.
that. We do not
Listen,
have unlimited resources.
I think
in
a
this
lot of
country
Americans-
to take care of other
There's
people.
a hell
We
of a
have
lot
our
of
own
people
people
other than the
first,
black
Anna.
people who were brought here as slaves who came to this country illegally.
They're
From a
not
lot
the
of
same as
different-
black people who were brought here against our
That's
will.
exactly what I
They
just said.
decided
I
to
said
walk
there is
their
a
butts
lot
across
of
the
people
border.
who are
There's a
other
big
than the
difference.
black
There's
people.
a big
That's
difference.
exactly what
There's
I
a
just
big
said.
difference.
That's
Share Michael,
exactly what I just
Share
said,
Michael,
Sir Michael.
and
Look
Anna.
and act indignant. That's
Okay.
exactly what
It's
I
not
just
about
said.
acting
I-
indignant.
Yes, it is.
let me
You
just
heard me
share
say
Michael.
that other than the black
Anna
people
and
who
share
came
Michael.
as slaves, there are a lot of people from
Share
many,
Michael. I think
many
you
countries
actually
that came
misheard
here
what she.
illegally.
I think you misheard what she said.
No, he purposely misheard.
She said.
I purposely
She
misheard
said.
it. So now you're in my
Share
brain?
Michael. Listen to me for
Is
just a second.
is that where we're going?
You
Share
think
Michael.
I would
Listen to me
say
for a
I will have
second.
advocated
Anna,
for black
please
people
stop.
my entire life and
Anna,
say something like that?
Anna,
Give me a
Because
damn
you've
break.
advocated for black people,
please
great.
stop.
Congratulations. Last time I checked, I'm black. You're not.
Okay, share Michael.
That's right. I'm Latino and my people are being racially
It is-
profiled.
it is-
and
And do I have to
Go.
remind you the history of my people?
Share
If you
Michael.
want to go there,
No, I don't.
if you really
Okay,
want to go
we're
there,
gonna
and
go to
know
break.
how
Know the
to-
history
Raul,
of your
we're going to
people.
go to
You know
break.
why?
Raul
Because
Reyes,
it's
thank you
because
very much for
history-
joining us. Everybody else, hang tight.
History was not
We'll be right back.
race.
Yes, it's the best thing ever, man. We need more of that. And the fact that Scott Jennings really wasn't even the person that was getting them all wound up is makes it even better. I mean, because he's usually the one that's just scorching these clowns. And he was just sitting back enjoying the chaos just like I am. So that was awesome, man. Holy crap. I loved every single second of it. Let me see. All right. What's going on here in the chat? Got that one. Your Barmy says, let's see, can't pop and stop in Africa. Grand Potato says, all the victim hierarchy at work. Your Barmy says, imagine if Anna makes the 100 gorillas argument. Ana Navarro, I've been seeing her like lose her mind since the first time I remember seeing her was, I want to say 2015. This is the first time I remember seeing her. And that was during the Trump, the rise of Trump. And she was back then, she was just losing her mind over Trump. And she's always been an emotional disaster. She's made a fool of herself. So all of these years later, she's still crying about Donald Trump. Like, imagine just how weird and how much of a disaster your life has to be where you're still crying about Trump all this time later, and he's president again. Good Lord, man. Let me see. What is this? So what Piers Morgan had Tim Pool, is Shri Clown on there. Carrie Lake. All right, here, let's see. Let's hear this.
He's used his power, his position.
Can't even listen to it talk. Oh, I can't listen to it talk without laughing. All right, here we go.
He's used his power, his position to intimidate media. He's used that to.
So is Obama. This is ridiculous. When Anwar al-Awlaki was assassinated, an extrajudicial assassination, and his 16-year-old son by Obama, the Democrats defended this and they said he should have had a better father. No one cared. Nobody cared. I know Jen cared. I know he's talked about it. I'm mad about it too. So now when you come out and you say Trump's going to be impeached because he's doing things that are unpopular, I'm personally offended.
It's not unpopular. It's illegal.
Murdered
Illegal
Americans.
and
No one did
unconstitutional.
anything. And you
It
could
is-
right now file those impeachment articles. We could get a criminal hearing and a conviction of Barack Obama for the murder of a 16-year-old. The 16-year-old Abdulrahman al-Awlaki was not a combatant. He was in a civilian
Tim has
restaurant
talked
in a
about this
country
a
we are
lot.
not at
Tim has
war
talked about this a
and
lot.
Why won't anyone do anything about it? I'll throw a cherry on top. When Donald Trump in his first term, when he first gets elected, he ordered a commando raid in Yemen, which reportedly killed a 7-year-old American girl as well. We don't have the same evidence on that one. I want that criminally investigated as well. How about you pursue those cases? But you know what? You won't, because when it comes to bloviating nonsense pertaining to the economy or what Trump may or may not be doing, no one ever goes after the war machine. No one ever tries to target the extrajudicial authorities of the executive branch and their unilateral authority to declare war. There's never been a war declared since World War II, and you're not going to do anything about it. No one will.
I mean, that's well said. That's well said from Tim. No doubt about it. So credit where credit's due on there. And listen, I'm not sure Trump can survive what's about to happen because I'm sorry, guys. I mean, I'm just here to report. Trump's in trouble. Here's why. How does Trump defeat this?
Tyrannical overreach. Finally, and most importantly, he is attempting to consolidate unchecked power and erode the constitutional limits. Tyrannical overreach. Finally, and most importantly, he is attempting to consolidate unchecked power and erode the constitutional limits. Tyrannical overreach. Finally, and
Oh man, I love the fucking internet. I fucking love the internet so much. Woo! Good stuff indeed. There was another one too, if I could find it. I may have to scroll down a little bit. Bookmarks after a certain point, they just they don't seem to work as well. So I don't know if I can find this one. It was really freaking good. There's been so many that I've had to bookmark. So God. Yeah, I don't see where it went. No, not there. Damn it. Can't find it. But oh, I did want to show this. Okay. Well, no, not that one. That's not the one. Why are bookmarks so gay? I don't know, but there's another clip that we have to go over from, I think it was CNN. Was it CNN? I'm not sure. No. I want to show this. Now, I haven't seen this clip yet, but apparently this is from Butler at the rally. This is President Trump getting up at the rally. This is video taken. I have not seen this footage, at least this perspective. I haven't seen this perspective. So obviously, if you've seen the Butler footage 1,000 times, probably just like me. So this looks to be in the crowd in front of President Trump. Somebody's recording. You see everybody's down on the ground. And I want to watch this really quick.
It's on TV right now.
Yeah. That is awesome. That is super cool having that perspective. Yeah.
It's Trump, okay, I don't know. I don't know. I couldn't see if he was. Well, somebody probably jumped on it. They jumped on it. It came from over here.
Wow, man, that is a wild perspective. I want to see one more time when they start realizing, or when Trump gets up. That's just powerful stuff, man.
It's on TV right now.
I love it. I love this.
It's Trump, okay, I don't know. I don't know. I couldn't see.
Yes.
Well, somebody probably jumped on it. They jumped on it. It came from over here.
Crazy stuff, man. Crazy stuff. Yeah, I mean, I was traveling to the RNC that day. Trying to remember, was it Gary that called me? So I was traveling to the RNC. I drove all the way. So I'm in Florida. And so that was all the way up in, what was that? Was it Wisconsin? So I was on a road trip all the way up there. I pulled over to make a video on something else. It was something for Geeks and Gamers. So I pulled over to make a video on something entertainment related. I can't remember what it was. And so I put my phone on Do Not Disturb. I think. I'm trying to remember. It's all such a blur. And I remember as soon as I got done recording, I took my phone off Do Not Disturb and I had messages from Gary and other people, but Gary, you know, Gary's was the first one I saw. And I'm like, he tells me, he's like, Trump just got shot. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? And so then I fired up a live stream immediately. I called Krista. I told Krista, I said, I don't know if my signal's going to hold up. We got to go live and cover this right now. Trump's been shot. And so, so Krista and Ryan and, you know, Gary, and we had several people in stream that day. It was crazy, man. It was absolutely crazy. And yeah, man, it was still like, I still have a hard time remembering all of that because it was just such a blur. Because I wasn't even sure if it was real. I'm like, this can't be real. I'm literally driving to the RNC right now. And then that happens. And I'm like, I don't even know if the RNC is going to happen. I don't know if Trump's going to be okay. So, yeah, that's crazy, man. So, yeah, Dan was on the stream. That's right. Dan came on. Look at the chat, man. I appreciate you guys remembering all that. So, good stuff. Good stuff indeed. That was a cool perspective right there. Let me, here, I'll drop this in the chat. If you guys want a link to that tweet, let me, put it here. Let's see in the chat. Will this work from this perspective? I think it will. Boom. There we go. Does that work? That should, link to it right there. Dread Allegiance says, you son of a gun, you had me for a moment there. Slade Lot says, first off, Filoni Clone War sucks. Anyway, I almost called off work that day to go to the rally. I live like 35 minutes from Butler, where Trump was shot. Yeah, man, it was crazy. It was a crazy, crazy day. It's hard to remember all the details of that. But anyway, okay, well, we are going to call it there. I wanted to cover the town hall, and I didn't know Kamala went live, had her speech, but we wanted to, you know, I mainly wanted to cover the town hall, so that's why I went live. So, second CobraCast of the day. I'll probably go live. Oh, we will go live tomorrow because Jesse Waters has Elon Musk and Big Balls of Doge on. So I'll be live tomorrow to cover that interview. So just make sure you put your, you know, reminders up. And I am a man of my word. I did, because I did tweet out the Mario Kart stream tonight. So I'll start tweeting out CobraCast as well. So people, if you don't get notifications here, you'll get them on Twitter. So I'll try to remember to start doing that. I'll do it tomorrow in case notifications aren't working very well. So it'll probably be tomorrow evening. I don't know what time Jesse Waters' show goes live. Maybe his show goes live around 7, 8. I'm not sure. So whenever he does that. So I will tweet out when I go live so that you'll have an extra set of notifications right there. So thank you guys so much. I really do appreciate it. I hope you have a great evening. And I'm going to watch the end of this Lakers T-Wolves game. I hope the Lakers get knocked out so LeBron can go home and he can watch a bunch of streams with Donald Trump, his president, because we know it'll piss him off. So you guys have a good night. Matt says, thank you for a banger stream. Thank you. I appreciate that. But you guys have a good night, and we will talk to all of you later. Bye, everyone.